I'm pleased with your progress, but I think it's time we worked a case together, don't you? We've got a Wild West shootout this time, right out of the OK Corral, but there's nothing okay about murder. This Old West Tourist Museum is only the latest attraction to play off Vegas's outlaw heritage. But our Vic, over behind the cash register, is an all-too-realistic exhibit of modern-day violence in Vegas. Suspect gave himself up to the first officer on the scene, who found two 9mm handguns on the floor. Crime apparently happened just after closing. No witnesses that we know of.
Keith Wild, and that's Little Ed over on the floor since he can't tell you. I've been read my rights, case you're wondering.
Gil Grissom, Crime Lab. Tell us what happened. Take your time.
I don't need time. It went down fast. Closing time, nobody around. I brought my two 9mm along and popped them. Bang, bang. I shot him down. Because he needed shooting. Has for a long, long time. And like any good customer in a shop like this, I'm ready to pay. Cool. Go for it. Good. Take it.
I'll put the suspect in the cruiser for now.
Sure thing. A shop makes for a messy crime scene. Countless customer prints to deal with. So first, we'll concentrate on what's definitely shooting related, such as bullets and shell casings. Whether the Old West or modern Vegas, when you hear the word shootout, that means one thing. Bullets. Lots of them. Just a kid. No more than 20, I'd say. Hit twice, chest and shoulder. Driver's license shows he's barely old enough to drive. 18. Check out the rest. Standard 38 special. Cocked, chamber open, and no ammo. Hammer stuck? Single-action Army pistol. The so-called peacemaker of the Old West. Dates to 1873. .38. Loaded. Sniff test says it was fired. 2 rounds gone. Risky, using modern ammo with an old weapon. Barrel could snap, among other things. We have a two-gun suspect and a Vic with one weapon who perhaps snagged another. It's like a reenactment of a high noon showdown, except all too real. The Peacemaker on display is missing, and this one claims a link to Wyatt Earp himself, a collector's dream. Cash left in the drawer may take robbery out of the equation, particularly considering the value of the guns on display here, also left behind. Floor-lodged bullet like this in a gunfight may mean an accidental discharge. What have you got there? If you catch it for me, I can use it in my collection. Okay, Keith left his blood at the scene, but if he was wounded, I missed it. Spandex thread. Fairly common, particularly in Vegas. Those two aren't quite a match. Try to be more sure before you come asking for confirmation. Focus on the details and you'll find the answers you're looking for. Hello, looking for a hint? Hello, looking for a hint? I might be able to help you, but I'll have to consider it in my final evaluation. Those two don't match. Those two don't match. Hello, looking for a hint? Sure thing. I've updated your case file with a hint. I don't have any hints for you at the moment. Those two don't match. Those two don't match. I don't have any hints for you at the moment. I don't have any hints for you at the moment. Those two don't match. Those two don't match. I don't have any hints for you at the moment. Those two don't match. Those two don't match. Those two don't match. These guns were in Keith's hands, all right. All right, let's head back to the lab and work our findings.
I'll take the suspect back to the station. Talk to Brass when you're ready to question him.
Sure, I'll send a team right out. Lividity and rigidity tests indicate the Vic was shot at 9 p.m., right around closing time. Gunshot wound to the chest severed the left ventricle and stopped the heart immediately. Victim was also shot in the right shoulder. Small amount of bleeding suggests the shots were fired one after another, within seconds. Of course, here's your 10 card. I did, and it didn't fragment on impact. I don't need it any further. You'll want it as evidence. This one wasn't the COD, but you'll want it as evidence all the same. Both shots were to the front of the body. One from the left, one from the right. Indicates our shooter may have been on the move, possibly seeking cover, or even more likely, a better angle to facilitate firing the fatal shot. Oh, other than being dead, our victim is in top condition. Tox screen did turn up marijuana traces in the blood, but the Vic hadn't been high in at least 24 hours. Tox screen also indicated antibiotics, possibly for the infection on what I take to be a recently added nipple ring. Such infections are common and are a big reason why I haven't joined in on the craze.
I'll get right on it. Check back later, okay? Just a packet of gum, oh, and 6 shell casings? Yeah, I think we can stretch a point, even if all we have is a guy at the scene with 2 smoking guns who confesses.
No, I wasn't. Honestly, I don't remember. It went down fast, really fast. They're legal, bought them after my 18th birthday, and took classes at a local firing range. But if you're looking for something to arrest me on, I guess you got me cold on carrying concealed weapons. I wasn't exactly counting, and when I try to think back, man, it's a blur. I can tell you I didn't exhaust the mags, though I know 2 slugs finished the job. Cartridges were full at 15 at the go point, so you do the math. I told you, right after closing, little after 9 p.m. I knew that jerk was working there and closed up on Monday nights. Door was open, let in some cool evening air, right? Little Ed needed cooling. Well, when the Citizen of the Year award gets handed out, you'll know right where to find me, won't you? Anyway, I'm 18. I'll be out on the streets being a good citizen again before you know it.
You mind if we hold off putting you in for that award till we find out the truth here?
Souvenirs. It's a souvenir shop, right?
Or maybe you were just picking up after yourself and got caught in the act.
So I'm tidy. What do you want from me anyway? I'm 18, ready to do the time, and I've copped to the damn thing. I got nothing else for you people.
Hey, interested in doing a laser analysis of bullets fired at the crime scene? Me too. But first I want to make sure we've processed all the bullets and guns we can find. I count 8 bullets total, including the ones from Robbins. Gun was jammed, as I thought. Ran the serial number, and it's registered to the gift shop owner. We need to fire off a test round. "12 left in the mag, 3 bullets spent. Let's get a round from ballistics." Remember what I said about the dangers of new ammo and old guns? Well, this peacemaker wasn't Wyatt Earp's. Serial number indicates a late 20th century replica. Should handle modern cartridges just fine. So our Vic's regular gun jammed, and he grabbed a gun from the display case to return fire. 15-round chamber. 3 bullets missing from the mag. Serial number says this pistol wasn't registered, but Nevada law doesn't require it. Time for another test round. It matches, but you're matching an unknown against an unknown, so we don't know anything. Always try to match to known samples. Try to match these to known samples. Those two don't match. Those two don't match. Try to match these to known samples. Try to match these to known samples. Those two don't match. .38 caliber, fired by our Vic. Those two don't match. This was fired from the first 9mm. This was fired from the first 9mm. Those two don't match. 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 Try to match these to known samples. Our Vic fired this bullet. This is from the second 9mm. This is from the second 9mm. We've confirmed two body shots from two different 9mm. Our shooter says he clipped the Vic in the shoulder, then moved to a new position quickly to deliver the fatal chest wound. I'd like to see for myself. You've successfully processed all of the crime scene bullets. Laser configuration should give us a coherent picture of the shootout. Let's go. If you point out each of the bullet holes, I'll turn on the lasers. I've got 8 lasers ready. 2 for the Peacemaker, 3 each for the other 2 guns. The replica Peacemaker fired these bullets. The shots seemed to go through the furniture. Could it have been moved? "9mm number 2 fired 3 times. Wall, photo, and the fatal shot. "9mm number 1 fired 3 shots. Floor, register, and our Vic's shoulder. Excellent work. 2 trajectories originate from behind the register, most likely the Vic's shots. Except for the bullet in the floor, the rest were fired toward his position at the register. 2 trajectories passed directly through the glass case, angles consistent with the 2 shots in the body. We need to analyze the glass in the case. Shots passing through the glass were fired quite a distance from each other. A lot of ground to cover, and you don't get a much better angle. Why would he have moved? Besides which, 3 shots were fired from each location, suggesting the shooter was not on the move. two holes in the glass. The oblique hole has longer spread in its cracks, meaning it was fired first. That bullet went into our victim's heart, which would have dropped him immediately. Our circular bullet hole, fired second, wound up in his shoulder. But in the time it takes to move across the room and snap off that second shot, our Vic would already have dropped. Plus, if the shooter got him through the heart, why would he move to shoot him in the shoulder afterward? Even in the heat of battle, that makes no sense. Only way these angles could match the angles of the body is if both shots were fired simultaneously, or almost so. We're looking at two shooters. Our lone gunman was not alone.
Gil, I have a rundown on the family background of both victim and confessed shooter. You're gonna love this.
I'm almost sure I won't.
Dad Ed's father is Eddie Tillis, the producer of The Bullet Train. Ring a bell? An oldie but goodie from a few cases back. And Killer Keith is none other than the son of Jill Wilde, Bullet Train's ex-lead singer. And now it goes from odd to weird. Maybe you can solve this puzzle. What looks like Keith, sounds like Keith, has the same DNA as Keith, and isn't Keith. Who has his own private set of fingerprints, by the way.
Well, I'm going to rule out a clone. Identical twin brother?
Close, but one twin short. You know Vegas, Gil. Often takes trips to win and hold 'em.
Keith's an identical triplet? This is a celebrity family. Why didn't we know about this?
Few knew. Jill's family managed to keep a very private life, and after all, we're talking fringe celebrities. Jill's not exactly top of the charts these days. We do understand the brothers live together, but we haven't snagged the triplets' address yet. About now, Jill should be finishing a show at the casino. Why don't I run over there?
Yeah, well, thanks. He was a good kid. Such a good kid. I can't believe, even begin to believe it. He had his own band, you know. Ed was the drummer, and a damn good one, too. So much talent. Such a loss. Such a loss.
We have a confession from the youngest Wild boy, but he claims to have acted alone, and evidence indicates a second assailant.
Those goddamn kids of Jill's should have known. You need to look at that no-good punk Anthony. But they're all punks, spoiled trash. Talk to their mother. Even she'll admit any one of those bad seeds could have done this awful thing. Where? You're not making a suspect out of me, are you? You think I'd kill my own son?
We're just trying to cover the bases. Investigations are in part a process of elimination.
Well, mark me off your damn list right now. I was out on a date last night. I went out to dinner. Call the broad if you want. No, I can think of 100. I've had issues with Jill for a lot of years, and her sons and my son were oil and water from birth. From childhood, those three would gang up on Ed Jr., but God help them the times Ed got any of them one-on-one. See, it's a matter of parental choice. I chose to raise my son right. She chose to spoil her three evil brats. I don't have anything else for you.
Jr.? Dead? How terrible. And you think 2 of my boys were involved in the shooting? I mean, something's horribly wrong. My boys are good boys. Not perfect, maybe, but Keith is a wonderful son. You say he's confessed? Kill Ed Jr.? My God, this is a nightmare. There must be some kind of mistake. You must not be reading the evidence the right way.
There's no mistake about at least 2 of your sons being involved, Jill. And I assure you, we're careful readers where the evidence is concerned.
Anthony and Billy have both been in the kind of innocent jams that every boy gets into. But Keith is good as gold. Those boys are the joy of my life. Anthony, Billy, Keith. Anthony's got an impulsive streak, sure, and Billy's in the middle going with the flow, whereas Keith, well, he's the peacemaker. He keeps my other sons out of hot water. Any of them murderers? Oh, it's absurd. It's simply unthinkable. Not that much. Decent drummer, you know, real laid back. Lots of drummers are wild behind their kit and then zone out off stage. Of course, his father, Eddie, we have history because of the band, Bullet Train. Ever since I left back in the 80s, the Tillises and the Wild's been like, you know, the Hatfields and McCoys of rock and roll. Not that I remember Ed Jr. buying into that particularly. Nothing happened. My boys wouldn't do this awful thing to Ed Jr. Of course, they've been pretty stressed out, losing their father in that horrible electrocution. Then the responsibility of inheriting their dad's rights in the band. See, ever since the reading of the will, that greedy bastard Eddie's been trying to weasel the rights away from him. Legal maneuvers, and not so legal maneuvers. All I can figure is, maybe Ed Jr. got himself in the middle of all that. I mean, it's true, my boys never, you know, really got along with him. But I can't picture them being involved in this terrible thing. And if by some bizarre happenstance they are, retaliation against Papa Eddie through son Ed is all I can figure. Ed Jr., though, was class. Eddie, you can forget the C and the L.
Thank you, Miss Wilde. Rest assured, if your boys are innocent, we'll do everything we can to clear them. Our only goal here is justice.
They share an apartment, but keep an unlisted phone number, hiding from the limelight. As the offsprings of somebody as famous as me, well, it's a burden, you know? It's, not that far from the gift shop where Ed Jr. worked, come to think of it. Maybe a quarter of a mile. You want the address? Here you go.
Anthony Wilde, Billy Wilde, Gil Grissom, Vegas Crime Lab.
Crime lab, huh? Cool. Well, you won't find any test tubes here, but mi casa is su casa. I'm Anthony. This is my brother Billy. He's the one with the beanie. I really don't remember. Ask Anthony. I suppose you want to talk about Keith. He hasn't been around since last night, and we were both worried because he took his guns with him. Like I said, last night, 8:30 maybe, right after dinner. Flew out of here hotter than hell. I asked him what was up his tailpipe, and he just said he was going to take care of business. Hey, he's okay, right? Yeah, he didn't get hurt or anything, did he?
Eddie's son isn't so lucky. He's been shot. Fatally shot. And your brother says he shot him.
Keith shooting little Ed? Man, that's way off the hook. Whoa, something must have really set him off. 'Cause he's the wild who's not that wild. Well, a little while after Keith left, Billy and me, we kind of freaked out, you know? I mean, Keith flies out of here with 2 guns stuck in his damn pants. What's that all about? So we went out and checked his haunts, like the video arcade and a burger joint. Nothing. So we finally blew it off and headed back to the crib.
Did you stop by the Old West Tourist Museum, where the victim worked a few blocks from here?
No, why would Keith go see Little Ed? We weren't tight or anything. Little Ed and us wild brothers. In fact, Billy and me, we headed off the opposite way. Why, is that where it went down? Only thing I can think of, and it isn't any kind of murder motive, but a couple days back, Keith came in and caught Little Ed in our apartment, fiddling with our laptop case. Like I said, we weren't exactly tight, and Keith ran after his ass. Little Ed scooted, left the laptop behind, but Keith lost him. Just all the legal documents and stuff about our rights to Dad's old band. Like I said, mi casa, su casa. Our prince, your prince. We only want this thing cleared up and Keith back home with us. Go for it. Anything to help get our brother out of this jam. But stick to the living room. Bedroom's kind of a mess. Maybe later. For now, stay out.
Here's a fabulous flashback. Kathy, the lead singer wannabe. Think the Trips were fans? Pink fiber from our Vic's fingernails matches this bra. Links Anthony and/or Billy to the crime scene. Those two don't match. Those two don't match. So our Vic may have been in the Trip's crib when he touched this. Broke in to steal the laptop, got caught, but skipped. Then 2 of the brothers confronted him at work, bringing their own guns to exhibit.
We confirmed he was out on a date, but he probably won't get another night out with the young woman who says Eddie did nothing but bitch about his ex-wife. Already have. Anthony and Billy weren't seen by anybody at that arcade or the burger joint. Direct link to the crime scene, and we're in the market for a second shooter. Let's see if their stories are identical, maybe so identical we can trip up the trips.
If I tell you what I know, you have to promise to let Keith off. This was strictly self-defense, I swear to you.
Keith stays put, and so do you and Billy, until we know exactly what went down at that shop.
Okay, alright, straight skinny, no fooling. Keith grabs the guns at our crib, says he's gonna have a little friendly talk with Little Ed at the shop. We tried to talk him out of it, but he wasn't buying, and it's like only a couple blocks away. So we get there maybe 9 p.m. Yeah, so anyway, we get there, and Keith and Little Ed are in each other's faces, you know? Little Ed dangling that pink bra at Keith, yanking his chain about how he, Ed Jr., could get any piece of tail in town, whereas we are 3-time losers. So I go over there, you know, and just grab that thing away from him, the bra. And then, way over the top, man, Little Ed, he yanks a gun from someplace and, you know, he just starts blasting away for no frickin' reason. And Little Ed yells at us to get our asses out, you know? And Keith, he scrambles for cover over by the door. We're outside in like a heartbeat, booking it back home, only we hear shots. But we just keep booking. I mean, come on, really, it was self-defense. Keith didn't go in that place wanting to kill Little Ed, or anybody. Maybe scare him a little after he broke in our place, right? And Little Ed pulls a freaking gun? I mean, what was the guy on, anyway? And hey, what else should Keith do but defend his own ass?
Not exactly a band of brothers.
Look, all three of us know our way around the iron. We all had small arms training. We all can take care of ourselves in a jam. And Keith was the one with the guns, right? How much use is an unarmed fool in a firefight? Sure. I guess that'd be okay. Scab? Huh? Guess there is. Don't know where I got it. Guy my age knocks around, you know?
Maybe this'll knock your memory loose. As triplets, the blood left at the scene matches all of you. Yet you, Billy, have the only visible cut.
Bill, remember when we were playing basketball with those guys over at the schoolyard? You got that there. Yeah. I must have got cut or scraped playing ball, you know, throwing the old elbow. Not at that shop. Hell no, not there.
If Ed Jr. had a reason to break into your apartment and try to steal that laptop, we need to know what was on it.
Hey, no problem. We'll give you the key to the laptop case and you can knock yourself out. Nah, Little Ed was closing. Just him and us three.
Evidence tells us 2 shooters in addition to Ed Jr. Ed's wounds indicate just one of you, Keith or anybody, couldn't have done the deed alone. Maybe you 3 musketeers did an all for one and one for all and stayed and helped Keith finish up.
No. You heard what we said, Billy and me. That was straight. Come on. Yeah, we didn't even have the guns. We were lucky to get out with our asses in one piece.
Case was secure, documents encrypted. Someone didn't want anybody seeing this material. As a wise man said, show business is high school with money. With millions at stake, Eddie sends a childish hate mail to the Trips, who threaten to go public with the police, which in turn justifies Eddie sending his son to snag the evidence on that laptop. Those two don't match. 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 Those two don't match.
He threatened the triplets, and with huge financial gains at stake, he could have been using his son to get back at them. I'll call the judge.
Letter? I don't write letters. Next.
Email then. You remember? The one threatening to bury the triplets?
Oh, that. That was nothing. Just talk. Hype.
Hateful hyperbole in an email, plus your son breaking and entering, adds up to you putting him on a collision course with those unstable triplets. Were you that desperate for those rights, to risk your own son's safety?
Those triplets are trash, but how was I to know they were dangerous? Sure, I want the rights to Bullet Train. I worked my ass off for those idiots for how many years? I was negotiating a better share from their father Ray before the train derailed in that electrocution, leaving me to lose my share to some lousy punk brats? Hell no, I don't think so. You bet I sent my son to delete those damn files. Was it a bad idea? Yes. Yes. Oh my God, yes. What are you implying?
Your computer sabotage mission didn't succeed, so maybe you kept your email word and convinced Ed to lure the triplets into a gunfight. And he ended up dying for your dreams.
You're not making sense. What good would having my son kill those triplets do, even in self-defense? Who would inherit? Their mother, right? And then I'd have to deal with her after my kid killed her kids. Wake up and smell the psychosis, Captain Brass. Yeah, Ed broke in for me. Yes, he hated those punks, but my son was not one to look for trouble. And gunplay? Not in his nature. Not in his sweet nature. They confronted him at work, remember? I was stupid involving Eddie Jr. You bet I was. But if you want to blame a parent in this, how about the mother who raised these monsters?
Ms. Cantanta is still a guest of ours, in jail awaiting trial. I know just where to find her.
I was wondering when I get to hang with my crime lab homies again. Finally figure out I'm not guilty? Drop by to spring me?
Not exactly. We're looking into another matter, and if you cooperate, we'll let your judge know.
About as well as you know 3 Chucky dolls on the shelf of a novelty shop. Something whacked about that terrible trio.
Ever party with them, or go on a date with any, or all of them?
Yeah, right. That's my idea of a big night out. Party with 3 identical weirdos. I'm not exactly a virgin, and maybe those 3 getting laid would make them less a freak show, but I'd rather spend another night in lockup with my new best friend, Darnella.
Good to know you have standards.
Ed Tillis? Well, one of him sure beats 3 wild ones. I mean, he knows how to make a girl hear music, and I'm not talking download. Only hooked up a couple times. But if you're offering a conjugal visit? No, not my size. I'm up a cup. Why? What's this about? Auditioning for the Jailhouse Follies?
Ed Jr.'s dead, shot and killed, and 2 of the trips we think are implicated.
Ed? Oh, hell. Damn! That is a waste and a half! He was worth all 3 of those identical creeplets. Sorry, I can't think of anything else to tell you.
Hello. Looking for a hint? Sure thing. I've updated your case file with a hint. I don't have any hints for you at the moment. I don't have any hints for you at the moment. I don't have any hints for you at the moment. Hey, what's up?
He's on his way to interrogation now.
Why not? Ever see those Hong Kong movies where the guy slides down a banister shooting two-handed? Or like those two-gun kids in the old cowboy movies? Hey, stuff happens. Guns jam. Ask Little Ed. Oh, sorry. Guess you can't. Look, if I do something, I like to do it upright, okay? Not as much fuss reloading with a pair of pistols, get it? What? Well, it's wrong. Or you guys screwed up the lab work or something. What's the deal with you people? I admitted to this, on my own.
You say one thing, the evidence says something else. And the evidence never lies.
You need to cooperate, son. And if you think being 18 is going to buy you leniency, you're just another guy in Vegas bucking long odds.
Look, my prints are on the guns, I had the guns in my possession, I admit shooting the son of a bitch. What more do you want out of me?
The truth?
Shoulder. I shot him in the shoulder. And I ran over and shot him in his damn heart.
Wrong. Window glass indicates the heart hit came first, which means you'd have moved in the opposite direction and managed to shoot again before he fell. Try again.
Maybe the evidence doesn't lie, but you're not listening to it right. I stand by my confession. So what? They were nowhere around that place. And hell, even if they had been, I still shot the guy. God, come on. What, do you think we go out together in identical outfits and pick up our spoons and forks at the same frickin' time? We are three brothers of age with our own individual lives and identities.
If you're innocent in this, time is running out. You're looking at murder charges if you don't come clean.
I came clean with you people a long time ago. You wouldn't know the truth if it bit you on the butt. I got nothing else for you people.
They're on their way to interrogation now.
So you know what a coward he was, making his son fight his battles. What part of self-defense don't you understand? Eddie Tillis, man, he heaped the hate on our family since forever. And our dad had to deal with that bile. Plus he was the hack manager who built Bullet Train. Sure, we never got along with Little Ed, but it never went over the line till this damn break-in. Then, all bets were off.
Threatening email. A break-in. That's what took it to the next level?
More a kind of reality check. I mean, Mom, she's past it. She's been running on fumes for years. And with Dad dead, what's left for the Wilds but those Bullet Train rights he left us? With them, we had a shot at some kind of life. Without them, where the hell would we be?
A family feud, and I don't mean a game show. Son from one side murdered. A son from the other side takes the blame, but his story doesn't wash. Two more sons from side two finally cop to being at the scene, but their stories skip around like a needle on scratch vinyl.
Laser trajectories prove two shooters. Cut on Billy's arm could be the source of blood, placing him at the scene with a gun. Suggestive, but not enough.
Wait, let's back up. We're fixated on the sameness of our trips. Let's stop and assess their differences. Clothes, shoes, fingerprints, hair gel.
Good, Kath. So we head back to the crime scene, re-examine the points from which guns were fired. We need to prove which two triplets are our shooters. Laser trajectories reveal the shooters were crouching near these tables. Yet there's no real cover here. Wouldn't they be crouching behind something?
Yes, so maybe the tables have turned. Literally. Using the tables and racks as cover.
And then, after the shooting stops, somebody tidies up, uprights the tables, puts them back in place before we get there. So let's turn the tables again. Try something else.
Took a lot of force to make this scratch, whatever created it. Worth looking into. The person crouching here behind the table fired the fatal round.
Try something else.
Unusual place for prints. You'd have to be squatting using a hand for balance. Could shoot over your cover from this position. Straight shot at the glass case.
Those two don't match. 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 Hello, looking for a hint? Sure thing. I've updated your case file with a hint. Billy's fingerprints on the rack's underside put him behind it, crouching.
Hey, what's up? They're on their way to interrogation now.
You can't know anything. You weren't there. There weren't any security cameras or stuff.
We wouldn't if you hadn't given us a hand. You fired a round into the floor and two more at Ed. One hit the register, another hit home.
All right, okay, so I shot him. So what? Billy, zip it. No, why should I? I only hit the bastard in the shoulder. I didn't kill his ass or anything. Billy, we've got to stick together, bro. Hang tight. I'm not hanging at all. Look, man, they got my fingerprints, get it? That's called proof. They got evidence. Like when I grabbed that bra from Little Ed, right? Thing ripped and my gun went off by accident. That's when things got real crazy real fast. Had to scurry for cover, both of us, when Little Ed started shooting. I copped to what I did, okay? Don't ask me to give up my brothers. I can't do that for you. If your evidence doesn't tell you, I ain't gonna. Just remember, right? I did not kill the son of a bitch.
Here's your options. Cooperate or face conspiracy to commit murder.
Like we won't be, no matter what. As if.
Hey, what's up? He's on his way to interrogation now.
I got nothing else for you people.
Hello, looking for a hint? Sure thing. I've updated your case file with a hint.
This must have been uncovered when we moved the table. Broken zipper, maybe? I don't remember seeing anything in this shop with zippers on it.
This zipper caused the scratch. Could have broken off as someone leaned against the table.
Now that we know what we're looking for, yes, you can search for clothes at the Wilds' apartment and any evidence relating to motive that can be found.
Three guns, one per trip. But only 2 guns made the trip to the gift shop. Was one brother not as wild as the other 2? The zipper on these pants is broken. Keith had pants on when we found him, so they probably aren't his. If one trip had broken his zipper, he'd have likely changed his pants at home. Looks like some pictures were taken on this phone. Let's get enlargements at the lab. Prints here probably belong to the triplet whose pants pocket gave up the phone. Well, I think we just found out what girl this bra belongs to. The triplets caught their enemy in the act with Mom and suffered identical shock. Photo was taken earlier, day of the crime. The mother of all motives. These partials don't have enough data to match. See if you can match them to full prints. Those 2 don't match. 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 print and phone book confirm we have Anthony's phone from his pants pocket. So Anthony wore the pants in question, making the scratches behind the table. Another confirmed shooter. Zipper from these pants broke off in the spot the fatal shot was fired from.
You linked the two brothers to the shooting positions. That's on target enough for the crankiest judge.
We can place both of you at the origin points of the gunshots. Billy, you did indeed shoot the shoulder, while Anthony, you delivered the fatal shot to the heart. Thanks to the photo on your phone, Anthony, we know you stopped by your mother's house and got a shock to rival the electrocution of Bullet Train. Your mom and your worst enemy doing the mystery dance.
Listen, it looks bad, I get that. I do. But you gotta hold up here. This is really just an accident. We weren't trying to kill anybody. We wanted to put the fear of God into little Ed. I mean, the bastard was banging our mother. I mean, that's sick. It had to stop. We just wanted to teach that creep a lesson. Scare his ass, but good. Make sure he never went near our mom again. Keith, he tried to stop us, but Billy and me, we just went off. Mission from God kind of thing, you know? So Keith agreed to do the talking. Then at the shop, little Ed was waving Mom's bra like a red frickin' flag. I snatched it away and my gun went off into the floor. Total accident. But that shot echoed like thunder in that little shop and we went running for cover. We both yelled at little Ed to drop his gun. I mean, why didn't he? He was outnumbered. Instead, he crouched below the glass case, but with all the glare, we couldn't see so good. I told Billy, with all that glass, we should shoot it out to see better and stuff. We were squeezing our triggers and then, damn it, little Ed sits up. Why? I'll never know. And puts himself right in our sights. Hitting him was a fluke, an accident. We were booking it out of there, but Keith stopped us, made us give him our guns. Said he'd clean up after us, prop up tables, wipe off guns. Never said what he was up to, but we knew. He was gonna do what he's done so often. Cover up for his stupid brothers. There wasn't any time to think. Keith, he always shouldered the blame, and it was just how we did things. Later, the stakes occurred to us, of course, but Keith seemed to know what he was doing, creating confusion like. I mean, with the three of us sharing DNA and stuff, how could you guys ever really figure out what went down in that place?
Figuring out the truth is just how we do things.
I never meant for them to find out about Ed Jr. and me. You can't blame them for this. Blame me if you have to. This was like, you know, temporary insanity. What do you think? He was a beautiful boy. Boy, I say, but don't get any ideas. He was of legal age. And don't strain yourself trying to read anything in. If you think I was trying to get back at that monster Eddie through his son, it was nothing like that. Ed Jr. He was a sweet, innocent kid. And somebody had to teach him about life.
Kind of a short life. With your families at war, didn't it occur to you how your sons might react?
No. No, I figured it was my business, and why should they ever find out? Just bad luck, wasn't it? Anyway, I did my best with my boys, raising them the best I could. Well, sure, you could say I made the occasional mistake.
I can think of at least 3.
Naming the single-action army pistol the Peacemaker was the Old West at its most darkly ironic. But this case could have used a real peacemaker, a parent who could behave like an adult. Eddie put his monetary future ahead of his son's safety, and Miss Wilde risked pursuing her wild lifestyle with the forbidden pleasures Eddie's son represented. Her 3 boys be damned.
Even the peacemaker Ed Jr. used to defend himself was a phony, a replica. Closest thing to a real peacemaker here was Keith, but he didn't have the maturity, never had the guidance. 3 wolf cubs raised in the wild. Maybe they'll fare better in captivity.
Nice sharing this investigation with you. Meet me in the office for your final evaluation. All right, here's your evaluation. For evidence, you found everything there was to find. For hints, you didn't need many at all. And, at the end of the day, you followed the evidence to a clear conclusion. Can't argue with that. Not bad. You've earned a solid middle ranking. A couple of clear areas to improve for next time. And by the way, thank you for all the new specimens you found for my collection.